Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. In this 10th episode in the Shakedown series, we're going to move along a little bit in terms of the Shakedown blogs to September 21st, where we dealt with the blueprint and interior of the Watts home. And so I think it gives you an idea as long as a month and a week, so about 5 weeks after the incident on 2825 Saratoga Trail, I was very interested in knowing what the inside of the Watts home looked like. And I was particularly interested in the parts that we hadn't seen. So you could go onto Shan'ann's social media and you could see the usual places. You could see the kitchen, you could see the lounge, you could see the bedrooms to some extent, but you didn't really get an overall feel for the parts you really wanted to look at, such as the garage. You never got to see the basement, and you never really got to see some of those nooks and crannies, like the area of Shan'ann's office and the passages in that sort of area. You never really saw that, and so I wanted to know about those areas, right? So in this episode, we're going to follow Officer Coonrod once again through the crime scene. And we're also going to look at Shan'ann when she arrived home. And the whole idea is we want to find out what route did Shan'ann take. Now, again, you might think, well, this is just rehashing what we already know. But I can tell you now, although I've assumed all along that Shan'ann, something happened to Shan'ann before she got to the first floor. In other words, before she could go into any of the bedrooms. I've always believed something happened either on the stairway or very near it, either very near the top of it or the landing or somewhere there. But I think there's also a very strong possibility that it could have happened somewhere else on the bottom floor, and we're going to address that in this episode. If you haven't subscribed yet to this channel, please do like, share, leave a comment, and let's get started. So as I mentioned a moment ago, bear in mind this was September, before we'd seen any body cam footage, before we really got a sense through that body cam image of the interior of the Watts home. I really wanted to see on the other side of the staircase what that looked like. I wanted to see the basement, and we later found out that there was oxycodone in the basement, and then just getting a feel for the inside of the home. How would you go from the bedroom to the garage, for example? And so as a result of not knowing this, how could you find this out? And so we needed floor plans, we needed blueprints of the interior of the Watts home, and it was possible to actually get that as early as September 2018, before the discovery had come out, by getting a copy of the model type. And so on September 21st, I put up a blog post indicating that the Watts home is model type MLS number 1846125. And it's a model that has, you can actually go and view it. I'll put a link in the description, that has interactive maps and photos. In other words, that was a proxy for what we needed to know in terms of the Watts home. So without being able to go inside the Watts home, we could go inside a model of it and get a sense of it. It's not quite the same. In any event, local realtors described the model as the largest floor plan in the neighborhood in the highly desirable Wyndham Hills. So you certainly got an idea just from that the Wattses were living larger than their neighbors. And this is a quote from the website, from Remax, the agency that was sort of marketing this. And by the way, that link has been taken down. I've just seen that now. But this is a quote from the realtor while it was still up. It said, "It offers a main floor bedroom office complete with beautiful shelves and desk, formal dining, formal living room, family room, gas fireplace, a built-in off the large kitchen with upgraded cabinets and island. Appliances are 5 years new and include a double oven for holiday baking. From the kitchen family room area, walk out to your beautiful wraparound trek deck so you can enjoy the mountain views." And we know that we got quite a few lives in that particular area showing the sun going down and showing the family in that sort of setting. And we know that Chris Watts was actually using that deck on the night of August 12th. It was the last time he was seen before, he was sort of in trouble. On the second level, you'll find a large loft and 4 bedrooms, including a spacious 5-piece master suite. So if you didn't know, this would show you that all the bedrooms were upstairs. So there's no chance of Shan'ann going to bed downstairs or anyone else sleeping downstairs. We later found out that Chris Watts maybe spent one night, maybe 2 at the most, in the basement. It also refers to laundry is also conveniently located upstairs. That's also an important point. If Chris Watts did the laundry, where would he go to do it? And we know that he did do laundry. The question is, did he do any laundry on Sunday night, very early Monday morning? And then it says, and yes, the high-end washer and dryer stay. That is not all. Head to the basement for an incredible man cave entertainment area, complete with a pool table, wet bar, bar stools, home theater, etc. They didn't elect to have the man cave done, but I must say, when I read this, I wondered, was the basement Chris Watts' man cave? And it certainly didn't seem like that from what we could see from the outside, looking at that Minnie Mouse pink blanket covering his gym area. We didn't really know what was going on inside. But it turned out that it was his man cave area, and he did work out there a lot. He probably spent more time there than anywhere else in the house when he was at home. Perhaps with the exception of the bedroom sleeping, and then to some extent the lounge watching television, but probably spent an extended amount of period of time in that gym working out. And if you take the period where he was spending the night with Kessinger, then probably he only spent time working out there, and then otherwise nowhere else, not in his bedroom, right? Not in his bedroom, and not in the lounge. And so what would have been very familiar, that would have been his favorite place in the 5 weeks before the incident happened. And I think that's quite an important part to notice, is what route would he have taken in those 5 weeks before Shan'ann got home, sort of for the foreseeable future. What was his route when he got home from work? Where would he go, right? Unfortunately, based on the blueprint that is available, certainly some of the graphics that are there, you don't get a sense of that little area that's almost like a labyrinth, right? It's a little area of passages and fairly narrow areas that are sort of between the lounge and the garage and the office area. Now, in the original floor plans, people used the bedroom. The one room was used as a bedroom, where Shan'ann used it as an office. But the other thing that I think is very important to bear in mind is that in that area is a bathroom as well, right? And bathrooms are often used in crime scenes. Okay, so now we're going to go through the body cam footage of Officer Kunrad, and we're going to follow the route that they take through the house. And bear in mind, Chris Watts is leading them through the house, so he wants to take them on a particular route through it. And so if we follow Chris Watts's cue, right, he opens the door, Kunrad steps inside the open door, right, ahead of Nicole Atkinson, or I think actually he's behind her. He's behind Nicole Atkinson. He's also behind her son. Her son then makes a U-turn, goes back in. Then Nicole looks at the staircase, looks at the suitcase, and then they go past that area that I'm talking about, and then they go into the kitchen area. As soon as they get there, Chris Watts goes the opposite direction, and now he goes into the basement, leaving that door open, right? And it's this particular area that I think is so important. It is a soundproof area. It's shielded from outside view, but it's also got shielding in terms of sound. And he's got a lot there that he needs. He's got water. He's got, he can wash himself in that particular area. He can remove clothing to some extent. And so, the office was also a very messy area, and made one wonder, did something happen there? Because the two areas that were messy were the office and the bedroom, right? And so it is certainly possible that something could have happened here if Shan'ann's habit was to arrive home and then go directly to the office, putting her handbag down there. And we'll deal with that in a moment. So it would be interesting to know, besides Chris Watts, who wouldn't really be telling us that kind of information, what would other people who knew Shan'ann's habits, to some extent Nicole Atkinson, but I think more her parents, what would they say about how would Shan'ann behave when she arrived home late at night? Where would she go first? And I think a lot of us have assumed it would be upstairs and to bed, and that is exactly what the Lifetime movie dramatized. We'll get to that in a second. But there are a couple of problems with assuming that Shan'ann would just go upstairs. And one of them is, why is her suitcase at the bottom of the stairs? And also, why was her handbag not taken upstairs? And also, we don't know for a fact that, we don't know where her phone was, because we know her phone was probably stashed under the couch, right? And so the question is, where did her phone actually get her to, right? So I do think it's possible that Shan'ann bypassed the stairs, put her suitcase down, and then first went to the office and left her handbag there. But my initial assumption was that she went up the stairs, or she immediately went up towards the bedroom, right? And she wouldn't have turned on any lights because she wouldn't have wanted to wake anyone up. And the question is, and the mothers that are here would probably know this the best, is what would you have done if you had a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old? Would you have first gone into their bedrooms and checked on them? Or would you not have gone into their bedrooms because you didn't want to wake them up? What would you have done? And then the question is, what would Chris Watts have feared may have happened? Would Chris Watts have been afraid that what if Shan'ann had gone and checked on the children? And then the question is, well, was there anything wrong with the children? Were the children at that point sedated? In order for him to get through that 111-minute phone call with Kessinger without being interrupted. And so what's quite interesting in the Lifetime dramatization is it assumes that, first of all, it misrepresents when Kunrad arrives, the first thing he says is, mind if I look upstairs? And then immediately they go upstairs. And they don't immediately go upstairs, they go around those corridors that I've been referring to. But after they've looked there, they then do spend a lot of time upstairs. And one wonders whether, is that what Chris Watts wanted? Did he want people to spend time in the upstairs area because actually the crime scene was somewhere else? If he was covering up his crime, if he was trying to misdirect, then did he purposefully strip the bed in order to direct attention to the bed, right? And we know in his version of events, his original version was that the crime happened in a bedroom. The other thing, and I've brought this up quite a few times, the other thing to highlight is, if you know the phone data review, then you also know that Chris Watts and Shan'ann didn't actually sleep in the same bed for something like 2 weeks prior to the incident. So when they were in North Carolina together, even though they were in the same sort of location, they weren't sleeping kind of in the same bed. The one would sleep in one room and the other one would sleep on the couch. And this went on for quite a long time. And I think what Chris Watts was already doing then was showing Nicole Kessinger that, although I'm with my wife, we're not sleeping together, we're not back together. We're in the same place, but the reason I'm talking to you is because I'm not kind of with her. I'm not lying next to her. And one gets the impression that he was trying to provide her with that kind of assurance. And apparently she said when he left that she wanted him to patch up his marriage and kind of work on his marriage. What I think may have happened is she may have thought that when he left, and then when he was gone, suddenly felt a sort of desperate sense of, I don't want to lose you, right? And I must say, this particular part of Coonrod's body cam shows Chris Watts not looking particularly convincing, and as such, I think it was actually highlighted in the Netflix documentary, just because he blabs and he doesn't seem particularly convincing at all, and he's trying to smile and sort of make light of what's going on. Well, what I want you to think about now is imagine the way that it happened. Imagine, remember Shan'ann arrived, at 1:48. Put yourself in her shoes. She's carrying this bag. She's been on a flight that's been delayed. She's tired. She's pregnant. Where is she going to go? Now, bear in mind, she's carrying the suitcase. She's carrying her handbag. She's carrying her phone. Where do you think Shan'ann would have gone to the moment she stepped inside the door, right? So this moment right here, after she waves goodbye to Nicole Atkinson, what happened after that? Where did Shan'ann go? Did she go to the foot of the stairs, put the bag down, then go around the corner, and then go into the office and leave her handbag there? Because bear in mind, her handbag wasn't found either upstairs or near her bed, right? It's also possible that her suitcase wasn't left at the bottom of the stairs by Shan'ann. It's possible that the suitcase went halfway up the stairs or went to the landing, right? That's another area of, I guess, concern. The problem I have with Chris Watts going sort of, confronting Shan'ann in that sort of alcove is that she could turn around at any point, and then it would be, okay, what are you doing here, right? And her movements would be a little bit difficult to predict if he's coming in the opposite direction. So in other words, if she's just going to put her handbag down there and he's going to try and intercept her, she might actually kind of bump into him in the process of doing that. And the fact that she had no defensive wounds suggests that he caught her totally by surprise, right? Now, I want to take you once again through the dramatization in the Lifetime film, which is, I think, what a lot of people have assumed incorrectly, and that is, you see Shan'ann at the door, then you see her going straight upstairs, and she's carrying her suitcase, and, if you're paying attention, you can see she's also wearing those shoes. So there are two errors there immediately, that she's carrying her bag upstairs and that she's taking her shoes upstairs. The next thing, she's in the bedroom, and she's apparently got her handbag with her. And then she puts the handbag down, and then she also puts her phone down beside the bed. Now, it's difficult to be 100% certain whether, did Chris Watts, for example, was the suitcase at the top of the stairs and Chris Watts then took it down? Was the handbag in the bedroom and Chris Watts put it somewhere else, possibly in the office? Was the phone by the side of Shanann's bed and then Chris Watts put it out of sight under the loft cushions, right? So all of those are possible. I just don't think it's very likely. And one of the reasons I think that is, if Chris Watts didn't want, how can I put this? If Chris Watts wanted you to think that the suitcase was in the bedroom, right? And I think he did, because the next day, on the Tuesday, the suitcase was brought up from downstairs into the bedroom. He had done a couple of things by then. He'd made the beds and so on. But on the Tuesday, one of the things they noticed was that Shanann's suitcase was in the bedroom. So he'd actually moved it there. And so it would make no sense, if it was already there, for him to move it back down and then to move it back again, in my mind. The shoes, I also don't think that Chris Watts would have moved her shoes there. I think that is where Shan'ann ordinarily took her shoes off, and that was well known to people like Nicole Atkinson. Also, looking through the side of the front door, if you saw those shoes there, you would assume she was at home. So you could read that both ways. You could say that he would expect someone looking through the front door to if someone did do that they would see her shoes there and think she was home. But on the other hand, did he want people to think she was home? It becomes quite a mind-bending thing, but I honestly think Shan'ann would have taken her shoes off at the front door. That's another area where Nicole Atkinson could probably provide some clarity. Is, does she remember, did Shan'ann appear to be taking her shoes off when she went inside the front door and just before she waved goodbye? Shanann's parents could probably also talk about what Shan'ann usually did when she got home, late at night. And then we've got two very interesting precursors to this. Chris Watts returned home from the airport with Shan'ann when they came back from San Diego, and that was a fairly late coming home, and Shan'ann talks about that a little bit on Facebook. But then there's also them both returning from North Carolina with the kids and what they did immediately after that. So him returning from the airport with Shan'ann late at night would give him an idea of where he would expect her to go to as soon as she arrived back. And one possibility is that she might have gone straight to the bathroom. And if the bathroom was downstairs, could she have gone that way? And so this blog post posted in September was all about trying to figure out the insides, the innards of this house on Saratoga Trail. And of course, as I say, what we didn't really know was that particular area opposite the basement stairs and sort of leading to the garage, right? And we also didn't know anything about the basement. So I want to put the ball in your court and ask you, what do you think the route was that Shan'ann took? And I want you to think about it in two ways. I want you to imagine if you were her and you were pregnant and it was really late at night and you'd just come from a flight that had been delayed by 3 hours, would you also get straight into bed without taking a shower? Would you carry all your bags upstairs? And bear in mind, you can see Shan'ann when she approaches the front door. She's actually quite fit and strong. She sort of carries the bag. She doesn't drag the bag on its wheels behind her. She actually carries it and takes some fairly big strides, and that allows her to, instead of taking 2 steps before going up the next step, it allows her to get up the steps. And it shows you she's quite physically strong, right? And she was quite young. She was 34 years old. So although she was in a weakened condition, she was still a strong woman. So I want you to think about it from the perspective of, you are in Shanann's shoes, what would you do? And then also try and think about it from the perspective of, bear in mind, you are not Shan'ann. You are not, the kind of things you might do, she may not do. And Shan'ann was a creature of habit. And so the critical question here is, would she have gone straight to the office and dropped her handbag there? So in other words, dropped her suitcase by the side of the stairs and then dropped the handbag in the office, right? Even if that's the case, she may still have come back to the stairs and sort of made her way up the stairs, and it's still possible that the attack could have happened there. I'm just saying, as an alternative, I think it's possible that something could have happened in that labyrinth, which also had a high degree of shielding in terms of visual shielding and also soundproofing. The other advantage of that area is we know there were no defensive wounds, and so if something happened there, it would be harder for Shan'ann to get injured than if she was on the stairs when something happened, because there are all sorts of fairly sharp objects that she could have hurt herself on, such as the railing and to some extent the sides of the stairs. Although if she was pinned down, that would not necessarily be the case. So what is quite strange is all of this conjecture in September of 2018, before the discovery came out, in a weird way remains conjecture today. Despite the discovery coming out, despite Chris Watts's first, second, third, and maybe even fourth confessions, we still can't be 100% sure exactly what happened or where. And that is one of the intriguing mysteries of the Chris Watts case. So I'm not going to take it any further than that. I just want to thank those of you who tuned in to the live stream on Sunday. A lot of you have given really positive feedback on that, just saying that you found it very interesting and very, the psychology very useful and compelling. And so thanks a lot for that positive feedback. Obviously, if you haven't listened to the live stream, go and check it out. It deals with the management of fear. And then just a final announcement. In June, it's quite a busy month on Lifetime. There's some quite well-known cases that are going to be covered on Friday nights, including this Friday, the 25th of June. The Lifetime movies will be shown again, so you can check that out on June 25th on Lifetime. And then that'll be followed by a brand new documentary, Cellmate Secrets, on Chris Watts, and I'll be doing a review of that over the weekend. I'll try and do a review of that in a live stream this Sunday at the usual time, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. If you guys are interested in the documentaries on Lifetime dealing with, and the dramatizations dealing with Cellmate Secrets, then we can do the same thing with Jodi Arias. I actually watched the Cellmate Secrets on Casey Anthony and really found that worth going into in more detail. So if you guys are interested, let me know. But make sure you look out for that Cellmate Secrets Chris Watts on June the 25th. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.